Coming up in today's video, I'm heading off to the self-service laundry. I also have an interview with an ALT dispatch company. This includes a one-on-one interview, a demonstration lesson that I only have 5 minutes to prepare for, and some questions in Japanese. Then I'm heading off to school. I also wanted to give an update on my ankle injury. It's been just over 4 months now since my accident, and I'm going to show you the original x-ray and the latest x-ray and share some of the difficult moments that I've had along the way. When I look back at where I started and compare where I am today, I realise just how far I've come. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now if you're new here, my name's Penny. I'm originally from New Zealand, but now I live in Tokyo. I moved to Japan in September 2024 and originally lived in Nagoya. I moved to Tokyo in March 2026 to be closer to my daughter who also lives here. At the moment I'm studying Japanese at a language school, and I've recently completed and successfully passed my Bachelor of Applied Management. I am so proud of that. So completing my degree while living overseas and studying Japanese has been one big achievement for me. There were plenty of times when I wondered whether I would ever reach the end, but I finally did. Life in Japan has not always gone according to plan, especially over the last few months, but I'm still here, still studying, and still trying to work out what comes next. On this channel, I share the realities of living and studying in Japan, especially as someone starting a new chapter in life. It isn't always glamorous or perfect, but it's real. So let's get started. My apartment is quite small, which is normal in Japan. Although I can wash some things at home, it's much easier to bring larger loads, towels and bedding to the self-service laundry. I'm using my shopping trolley, which I bought from Amazon. It's been so useful. It's got wheels, so I don't have to carry all the weight. And it was pretty useful before my accident, but has become more important since my injury to my ankle. Carrying heavy loads while using a walking stick can be pretty difficult, and it's probably not that safe. So with this shopping trolley, I can put everything inside and pull it behind me. It's still kind of awkward on stairs, but before my accident, I probably would not have thought much about something as simple as getting my laundry from my apartment to the laundromat. But after the accident, even everyday, ordinary household jobs become a major challenge. But thankfully now I'm able to walk using my walking stick. Luckily, the laundromat isn't too far from me, and it has a change machine. All you do is insert the notes, you press the red button, and the change comes out. You do have an option to buy laundry powder as well, but I didn't need it. The machines cost 120 yen. That includes washing and drying, and the complete cycle takes around 65 minutes. It's not especially cheap, but it means that everything is washed and dried in one machine, so I don't have to move wet laundry between different machines, which is much easier for me. I have noticed a lot of people come in with wet clothes and just use the dryer, so they must have a washing machine at home and they just come along and dry them. It doesn't look actually that expensive just to use the dryer. This is an option that I'm thinking about, is getting a washing machine at home and using the laundromat to dry the clothes. Once I've put in the money and it started, and now I've got 65 minutes to wait. Sometimes I go back home and sometimes I'll go to a cafe and have a coffee. This time I want to go back home and prepare for my interview. Part of my preparations is trying on my suit, just going through the motions of having the interview as well, looking at my facial expressions and my gestures just to make sure that I look okay. I think presentation is a key point of first impressions about the ALT position. So ALT means Assistant Language Teacher, and I have applied for quite a few roles. But this was before I achieved my degree, and I always got rejection letters. But now that I've passed my degree and I can put
Hi.
that in my application, I seem to have
Good,
had
thank
a
you.
couple of
Thank you
bites.
so
I've
much
had a
for
phone interview already with this
inviting me to
company
the
and
interview.
I've moved on to
How
the
do you
next
feel,
step,
Ashley?
which is the one-on-one interview.
Yes, I
I'm feeling a
can.
little
Can you
bit
hear me
nervous,
okay?
but I think that's normal to feel nervous before interviews,
Excellent.
especially when you know part of it's going to be in Japanese. I'm trying to remind myself that I can only do my best, and if I don't know something, I will be honest rather
Most
than
people call me.
pretending. I felt the interview went quite well. We went over what was on my application form and just verified my name, where I live, my nationality, and visa status. I felt there were pretty stock standard interview questions. I had why I wanted to be an ALT, what challenges I think that I might have, did I have any tattoos, and if I did, where were they, and could they be covered up? Whether I'd like to have school lunches, whether I had any allergies to food, and what areas of Japan I'd be interested in teaching in. So I think here being flexible is key. But certainly don't say you want to be in the countryside if you don't want to be in the countryside. Searched YouTube and found out a bit more about the company. So they really wanted to know, had I done my research, what did I know about being an ALT? The
Hello,
next section of the
everyone.
interview was the demo lesson.
My
I
name
was
is
given the brief
Penny.
and then 5 minutes to prepare
Nice
a
to meet
lesson
you.
and then to present it.
How are you? I am hungry. Well done, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. Okay, so let's see how we've gone on today. So the vocabulary we're learning is I like. So Paul, what fruit do you like? Thank you so much. Just get there. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So today is Friday and it's the end of the week. It's been quite a busy week, I'd say. Emotional. I don't know if it's emotional, but like we had a test, kind of a midterm test on Tuesday. I also had an interview with a company for an ALT position, and I heard back from them, and that seems to be moving on. I did the demo lesson and they seemed to be quite happy with that, so I went to the next step to do some more testing and send my documents. So fingers crossed that I might hear something within the next couple of weeks. Anyway, the test, well, I didn't do too well, but in saying that, like, I'm not too worried. It's actually showing where my weaknesses are, and I know where my weaknesses are, and I feel like I'm a broken record. I say I have to do this, and I don't know, am I doing it? I feel that I'm saying I'm doing it, but I just don't know if I'm doing it properly. Anyway, so my weaknesses are the vocabulary and kanji. The listening test wasn't too bad. I guessed a couple of answers, but I did well in the listening. But the reading, there was 5 questions and I got 1 right. So that's pretty bad. So that's where my downfall was. We did some writing, had to write a story, but I'm just waiting to hear back how I did on that. So really, I'm starting to feel more normal. My ankle is not as sore. I am still quite tired when I get home, and I do, go get straight into bed. I have been watching a bit of Netflix, which I have to stop. I kind of watch the ones I like. I'm thinking about going back to re-watch them in Japanese, so I might actually start doing that. Had a shower. I'm just going to make my coffee. So I think that's kind of an important part of the morning. So this weekend, I'm thinking about getting some of my Japanese grammar in sections, because learning N3 grammar, I'm completely confused now, because what we've learnt before has kind of changed and it's a different way of talking. So I just really need to get my head around, do we use just mainly like N3 moving forward, that type of grammar all the time? Or do I have to remember this other grammar? So yeah, I've just got myself a bit confused. So I'm just looking on the internet and with YouTube and just seeing like what do they say? What kind of advice do they say? I think the accident really put a downer and made me feel quite inadequate. And, you know, all my subscribers, you are so supportive. But, you know, there's always demons inside saying you're not really good enough. You know, I feel embarrassed that I can't speak as much Japanese as I should. I feel that in my class I could be one of the weaker links because my vocabulary is so bad. Everyone's moved on. I think if I really soaked in everything in N4, I wouldn't be as bad, but I felt that that term was completely gone. From some of the discussions I've had from other people in the class, that there has been like a person that's redone this N3 level. So I think, you know, that's maybe an option. We couldn't redo the N4 level, but I'm not sure. I think that really focusing and just listening to Japanese all the time and just putting myself out there. I'm thinking about making some sentences on cards and just repeating those sentences as well, because it does help. And just understanding what I'm actually meant to be saying. I've had offers of help, but yeah, I feel like, you know, I feel so embarrassed that my speaking is so bad that I don't even feel confident taking up people's offers. Do you ever get like that? People offer and you think, you just feel so embarrassed? I don't know. I don't know what it is. You know, really, they want to help, but just not being able to speak that much. And where I am now, like I'm meant to be N3, and I should be able to have conversations and lots of, you know, good conversations, but I just feel I can't. Is it a mental block? I don't know. Now, doesn't that look lovely? So this is my setup in bed. So I've got a little table, my computer. I usually go over what lessons we've got on the day and write down some notes if I can. So at the beginning of the term, we receive this folder, and it's got all our lessons that we're going to be covering. So they've made it themselves. They do have like a timetable of what we're going to be studying. So I've colour coded it to what type of lessons we've got. And yeah, at the beginning it does go over the grammar points that we're going to be learning. And so that's each day. Well, probably not each day. It's like these are blocked into weeks. So it looks like we learn, you know, 3 grammar points a week. And then it's got some like verb structures. And then we started off having some review of N4. So that wasn't too bad, but there was some areas where, there was, well, not some, there was a lot of areas, I must admit. And then, it just goes through. So what I did, they were in sections and I've put them into day order. And I do write my notes when they're talking, just to try and work out exactly what they're saying, and I try and go back to them. So it's the school. I'm enjoying the school. It's completely different from the other school I went to. This is more kind of self-study. We don't have homework, but really we should be reviewing and practicing what we've learnt that day. So if you're not good at self-study, then it is a bit tricky. But the testing, they are very supportive, and I think that if you need extra help, there is extra help there. And then, this is what I do when I get home. My foot, having it up a lot, the swelling has gone down quite considerably. I am walking faster. However, if I walk too fast, then, it tells me to slow down with the kind of pain I get in my ankle. And I have been taking calcium tablets. We all think we're invincible until we start falling to pieces. Actually, very funny, like my age. And I think that, when I was younger, people say, oh, look after yourself, you'll regret it later on. And you'll be, yeah, whatever. And I feel like I'm saying the same thing that the oldies used to say to me when I was young. Oh my gosh. So, any young viewers out there, make sure you look after yourself, take vitamins, enjoy life. I enjoyed life, so I've got some diseases from enjoying myself too much, like the diabetes, and not being as fit as I should. But it's making sure that you're healthy internally, I think, is quite important. I haven't got a microwave yet. I've still just got that one kind of fry pan pot, electric pot thing, because if I can't find employment, I won't be able to stay in Japan, and April next year will be when I'd have to leave. And I didn't want to buy just a microwave that heats up food. I want to buy one of those combis, because since we don't have much space, buying a microwave seems to be a waste of space. I really want to buy one that you can grill, bake and heat up food, like I had in Nagoya. Now, I sold everything in Nagoya because it was too expensive to move everything down. To be honest, sometimes it's hard to know whether you should buy stuff or rent it. I found investigating renting, it was a little bit more expensive. So buying, but I have been looking for second-hand combination ovens, and I've seen some on Facebook Marketplace, and there's a couple that I've offered, but I haven't offered as much money as they wanted. So I've only offered what I can really afford. So I'm just waiting. If I do manage to secure a job, then I will get a microwave convection oven. Right, I'm going to just do some review on my lesson, and I'll be leaving shortly. Oh, this is the shirt that I brought. I thought I'd wear this shirt today from to you. Yeah. Okay. See you later. Right. Time to go again. See you. Oh gosh.
My journey takes around 55 minutes, and I change at Takeda no Baba and take the Tozai line. The Tozai line, it's around 30 minutes, it's 13 stops. On the Tozai line, I always get a seat, and I have been listening to podcasts in Japanese and also YouTube with Japanese lessons. Once I get to Nisho Kasai, I jump on a bus. It's only an 11-minute walk for normal walking, but since I'm slower, it takes 20 minutes. In the height of summer, it's just too hot. It's been 122 days since the accident I had in Thailand where I broke my ankle. It's certainly been a long and painful journey. So when did it all begin? I was still recovering from a facelift that I'd just had done 2 weeks earlier. That's why I look battered and bruised. On the 31st of March, I was in Thailand having cosmetic surgery, and it was a couple of days before I was to leave Thailand and come back to Japan and start a new school learning Japanese. Now, I had a serious accident and badly damaged my ankle. I knew immediately something was wrong. My foot was kind of dangling off the end of my leg. An ambulance was called and I was taken to the accident emergency department. Everything happened very quickly. 1 minute I was expecting to continue my travels, and the next minute I was in hospital being examined, having x-rays. Now this is the original x-ray, side by side to the x-ray that I had 3 weeks ago. I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not going to try and give a detailed medical interpretation of it. However, you can see clearly that it's just not a minor injury. There is a serious fracture as well as damage to the ligaments and tendons around the ankle. I had been expecting to fly back to Japan the following day, but that plan had to change. At this point, my priority was getting the injury treated safely. So on the 1st of April, I had surgery. The surgeons used metal work to stabilise my ankle, including plates and screws. And the operation was only the beginning. After surgery, I had to deal with pain, swelling, the loss of complete independence, and suddenly not being able to walk. Simple things became extremely difficult.
I do have like some sort of drainage.
7 days later, I was able to return to Japan. Now, my life here looked completely different from what I expected. At first, I relied heavily on mobility equipment. I used a wheelchair, and 2 months later, I progressed to crutches. I couldn't stay in the apartment that I'd rented because it had stairs and I could not get up the stairs. And there was nowhere to put my wheelchair, as there was no parking available in the apartment that I had rented. My life was turned completely upside down. But moving forward 120 days, I'm now walking with a stick. My ankle is still pretty painful, but at least I can put pressure on it. I can walk upstairs. Walking downstairs is still quite slow. There's been days where a short journey was exhausting, school was exhausting, and all I did was go to school, come back, and go to sleep.
And
The public transport in Tokyo was second to none. The station staff helped me on and off the train, and I wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. When the accident first happened, I did not know when or if I'd walk again. I did not know how I'd manage daily life in Tokyo, attend school, or continue with my plans. Now I can walk with a stick. I still have pain. My ankle can become sore after walking, and I still need to rest and raise my foot when I get home. I'm not fully recovered, and I do not want to pretend that everything is back to normal, but I have come a long way. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I've managed to get my laundry done, complete the next stage of my ALT interview, and go to school. That might sound like a normal list of everyday activities, but after everything that has happened over the last 4 months, being able to do all those things feels like an achievement. Thank you for coming along with me today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps support my channel. And if you're new here and would like to follow my life in Japan, my Japanese studies, my job search, and the rest of my ankle recovery, please consider subscribing. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a serious accident or experienced a recovery that took much longer than you expected. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya!